Hi theory students. Today we're going to continue our discussion of ordered segments in serialism. And in this video we'll be talking about 12-tone rows. A 12-tone row is an ordered segment of the 12 pitch classes, each one different, so that the entire collection would make up the whole chromatic set. This row can be transformed in the way any other segment may be, as we discussed in the last video, by transposition, by inversion, by retrograde, or by retrograde inversion. This order defines how pitches are introduced in a phrase. Once introduced, a pitch may be repeated. Also, when a chord is used, the simultaneous pitches are the next pitches in the row, but may be spaced in any way the composer chooses, not necessarily in row order from bottom to top, or vice versa. In the piece we're going to look at, the prime form of the row would be these pitches: G sharp, A, G, F, B, E, D, E flat, B flat, D flat, C, and F sharp. This undergoes various transformations in the piece. But what this means is that I'm going to hear the G sharp when I use this row before I hear the A, and then the G. I can repeat things like this, or I could use something, for example, where I have F, B, and E. I could use those together as a chord, and I don't necessarily have to use them from bottom to top or top to bottom. I could put them in any spacing I want. So in effect, using a chord temporarily makes all of these three equal in order, because I'm hearing them all at the same time. The piece we're going to look at doesn't feature chords, but we'll see what we mean about the chord order in the next chapter. A row is often paired with some transformation of that row, and the choice of which row pairs to use together is an important consideration. One consideration might be that part of a row whose notes are the same as part of another row. For example, if the pitches 4, 2, and 5 appear somewhere in a row, and the pitches 2, 4, and 5 appear somewhere in a different row, then when those rows are paired together, a composer can make a kind of call and response between two voices using these pitches. We call that phenomenon invariance. Now we'll look at an excerpt from Luigi Dallapiccola's song, Die Sonne kommt. In the next chapter, we'll learn how to write out a matrix that shows all the possible transformations of a 12-tone row. But accept that for now, what we're going to be looking at, this example uses three different rows. First, I9, the inversional form starting on pitch class 9, and then RI9, which is I9 backwards, and then P8, the prime form starting on pitch class 8, which appears in the clarinet. So the pitches are as follows for these rows. Notice I9 this way are the same pitches as RI9 the other way. So if we're looking at various relationships between them, we'll see how this works out in the piece. Here's a photograph of the excerpt from your book. So in this example, I9, here's pitch class 9, 8, 10, the 9 and 8 are repeated, and then the next pitch in the row is 0, 6, 1, 3, 2, 7, 4, 5, 11. So here they were. 9, 8, 10, 0, 6, 1, 3, 2, 7, 4, 5, 11. What Dalla Piccola does then for the next line of text is it takes this row, I9, and he plays it backwards here. When the clarinet comes in, the clarinet starts with P8, or the prime form starting on G sharp. So here's the invariance. Note that these three pitches are answered in the clarinet. Same three pitches in a slightly different order, but we hear the relationship between them. And then in the voice, and the D and E flat, the clarinet comes in, and those are invariant. And now finally, 1, 6, 0 is answered in the clarinet, 1, 0, 6. What I explained is written out here in the notes. This pairing was clearly chosen, the pairing being RI9 in the voice paired with P8 in the clarinet. It was clearly chosen because of the repeating pitches between the voice and the clarinet with each of those rows. When we listen to a 12-tone piece, we can hear some of these relationships. Some pieces are more complicated to hear than others, but the row represents an order of pitches that could be considered like a set of pitch motives. Things like pitches that are repeated between two voices are also important to hear. We'll learn other techniques that composers used when constructing and combining rows. But that's all for this video.